I woke up this morning and I was so tired from traveling, and I thought, water, a little bit of coffee, like something just to jar my system. And I realized that what really works for me is taking off all my clothes, looking in the mirror, and dancing naked. Kind of look at it, you look at all your curves, you look at all your body, because when you're naked, you get into your body. And I'm asking you right now, have you ever thought about this? Do you feel good in your body naked? You ever just stripped down and checked yourself out? Or are you one of those people who takes off your clothes and you run to the shower and you think, oh God, don't look in the mirror. Or hide from yourself. I am 50 years old. I've earned the right to be in my body naked. I have gone through the ringer. So I heard it said that we come into this life frail and naked, and we leave this life frail and naked. And what we do in between is entirely up to us. We're kind of born like the nucleus, like a pearl of an onion. Just think about that. You're the pearl of an onion, and everything that happens to us in our life, everything that we learn, everything that we absorb, everything that we think, everything that we eat starts putting the layers upon layers outside of our onion. And then we create this outer shell, this skin, right? So this is me around 13 years old. I think my outer shell was pretty crisp. It didn't look like I could grow any farther in my skin. I was completely out of my body. I was completely uncomfortable. I grew up in a divorced family. My father's Persian. My mother was a farm girl. And it just wasn't working. But our whole life surrounded around food. My stepmother was one of those boxed cookie eaters, always buying the newest thing that was on TV. We had to have this, we had to have that. Microwave ovens came out. My dad said it was the best potato cooker ever. So we had to have a potato cooker. Everything was about food and exploration, but nobody ever asked you, how do you feel, Diana? How do you feel? Well, I felt awful. I felt sad. I felt miserable. I felt confused. I was not comfortable in my body naked at all. So I started moving my body. I realized that walking was what I loved to do. I would walk and walk and walk for hours, for days. I started surfing. I became a runner. By the time I was 16, I got it. I'm like, I got to move my body. I got to start moving. I started paying attention to the foods I was eating. In fact, people were concerned. They thought, boy, you're really too thin. I was 16 years old. I was 5'10". I was size 2. Again, this picture doesn't do it justice. I was probably 15 in this picture. Oh. And what would I tell my 15-year-old self? You are so freaking cute. I wish I had known how cute you were. So later on in life, I started building the layers upon myself again. Life happened. Education, relationships, marriage, children, toxic drinking, partying. I had to go through in vitro fertilization in order to have my babies, drugs, in order to have them. And I got to a point where my body pretty much blew up. I was 247 pounds, and I was very uncomfortable. I finally went to the hospital with a bleeding ulcer one night. My children were sleeping, and I started throwing up blood. It was traumatic. It was a traumatic experience, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? My kids are sleeping. My husband was traveling. So I ended up rushing to the hospital, and they gave me morphine and knocked me out. And I said, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And they said, oh, nothing. You have a bleeding ulcer. No big deal. Here, we'll give you some more morphine. I remember laying in that hospital bed. My eyes were rolling in the back of my head, and I was thinking, just take me. I forgot about everything. Just take me. I just want to die. So the next day, I ended up getting, tested and all that. And they said, basically, you're raw tissue from the esophagus down. Like, down where? They're like, all the way down. I said, well, what are we going to do about that? They said, we're going to give you this purple pill, and you're going to take it for the rest of your life. And I said, okay, that sounds great. So it's going to heal me, and I'm going to be fine? And I said, no, you're just going to be out of pain. I said, this isn't going to work for me. So I stripped away the foods that weighed me down. Dairy, wheat, sugar, meat, caffeine, and alcohol. Okay? Those foods, why those foods? Well, these are the toxic foods that we eat every single day. These are the foods that we consume on a regular basis. We get up in the morning, we have coffee, we have cream, we have sugar, we have eggs, we have toast, we have meat, we have a daily food regimen does not have any vegetables in it unless they're cooked. Nobody thinks about this. I'm fast forwarding out of myself because I really want to talk about feeling in your body. Ask yourself when you eat. Ask yourself when you think, whatever's going on for you, what anybody says to you, ask your body how it feels and how it feels naked. It's the first thing I want to point out right now. The second thing is never assume. Never assume that anything that you hear is right. Never assume that you should eat a lot of meat, or you shouldn't have coconuts, or their avocados are too much, or you should eat more carbohydrates, or you shouldn't have any carbohydrates at all, or paleo's right, or raw's right, or vegan's right, or meat eating's right, or whatever. Your body knows everything that you need to know about your body. Your body will talk to you. You have to listen to your body. I met this guy once. I was doing a talk at Tyler Florence. He's a Food Network guy. And I was in his store, and I was talking about good fats. And he had a restaurant right next door. And this guy walks into the back. It's kind of late, and I'm doing my talk, and he goes, "Excuse me, but I heard avocados are fattening." I said, "Hey, were you just at Tyler's?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "What'd you have?" He goes, "Oh, I had this great steak and had some sauce on it." I said, "Did you have those sour cream potatoes?" He goes, "I did." I said, "What about the mousse, that chocolate?" He goes, "Mm-hmm, whipped cream, little ice cream on the side, mm-hmm." I go, "You're absolutely right. Avocados are fattening." "How do you feel?" He goes, "Oh, I'm stuffed. I feel like I'm going to go food coma." I said, "Of course you do, because you just ate all the no's." Now, the foods that we take out of our body, I call them the no-nos. No-nos, not no, 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 you can't have that. It's no, K-N-O-W. You need to know the no's. You need to be aware of the no's. Not that you can't ever have them again. I mean, think about it. When I eat a hamburger, and I do sometimes, bacon, cheese, the whole thing, bread, a little bit of mayonnaise, because I like mayonnaise. Some people don't. I like it. A little mustard, a little ketchup. It's got lots of sugar in it. You eat it, right? Ask yourself how you feel when you eat it. Don't ask how much it cost. Don't ask, how it tastes. We always say, "Oh, it tastes so good," right? "Oh my God, that tastes so good." Yes, of course it tastes good. Of course it tastes good. We don't ask how many nutrients is in it. We can. How many nutrients is it? Well, it's got some. I've got a lettuce and a tomato in there, and I've got some protein, and I've got some da 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 da. We make ourselves, we're okay with it. Ask yourself how you feel. Well, bacon cheeseburger makes me feel lethargic, bloated, tired, heavy, want to go to sleep. I pretty much have tremendous guilt pains afterwards because I'm like, "Oh man, why did I eat that? That's awful." All right? Ask yourself how you feel. Now, how do you feel when you eat an apple? Or a piece of fruit, or a big salad, right? You're like, "Wow, I feel light. I feel like I'm going to go for a walk. Maybe I'll go down to the beach, have a smoothie." Of course, you're hungry 30 minutes later, but it doesn't matter because you're going to eat another apple, another banana, something to keep yourself going, but you're constantly in motion. You don't feel weighed down. Don't assume that anybody knows what's good for you. If I tell you today to go on a raw food diet, don't listen to me. You have to test your body. Testing your body is the third component to understanding what your body needs. You need to test it. You need to ask yourself, well, you just told me that coconuts are good for me. Well, I tried the coconut, and it actually I break out in a rash. So coconuts are not good for me. Guess what? But everybody says coconuts are good for you, and I can't seem to get the coconut inside me. I'm like a petri dish. I'm literally a walking human experiment. I'm actually experimenting with something right now. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because I can't teach anything unless I know what it feels like in my body. So I try everything. And I was on this elephant in India. It was great. I'm on the elephant. I'm going through the Spice Islands, and this man says to me, he goes, "Touch that." He goes, "Grab that." I grab it. I start biting it. He goes, "No, don't. It's terrible." I said, "What is it?" He goes, "It's coffee. It's a coffee bean. It's very bitter. You ever had green coffee? It's very bitter. It's actually a mind-expanding drug. Coffee is a mind-expanding drug. And in centuries past, they used to have ceremonies eating the green coffee. Great antioxidant, but what it does is it stimulates the frontal lobe. That's why when you get up in the morning, you need to have your coffee. You're like, "Oh, I need to have my coffee." Your frontal lobe is asleep. Your frontal lobe is asleep because you had a cheeseburger last night. Okay? Your frontal lobe is asleep because you're not eating good foods. All right? So we drink our coffee. I have this image. All right? You can just imagine everybody around the fire, and they're all dancing, and they're probably naked, and they're having these mind-expanding experiences, and they're doing, I don't know, some wild Indian crazy dance. And they wake up the next morning and they're laying by the side of the fire going, oh, Lord, that was quite an experience. They look in the fire and they're like, we need some more, man, we need some more. They reach in and there's a roasted coffee bean. Crush it up, make a tea, drink it, a little hair of the dog, they're good to go. We drink it every single day. We never asked where it came from. We never asked why we do it. We drink it every single day. We don't know why our bodies don't function on something. We have never asked the question, how does our body feel? We assume that it's okay that we can drink, coffee. We assume it's okay to drink milk. I mean, weren't we drinking milk for centuries? The dairy today is not the same as it was before. Elsie the cow is not in your backyard. Well, maybe here in Vermont it is. But Elsie the cow is not in your backyard. You're not milking her teats every morning and saying, fresh milk, great cream, pasture raised. I even know her family. Elsie and I would go way back. We don't know what we're putting in our body. It's pasteurized, homogenized, completely traumatized before it even gets into the carton before you eat it. Do you know what homogenization is? Homogenization is a cavitation process. Cavitation meaning it's like a hydraulic press which goes in and breaks up the molecules, really deforms them. It takes these perfectly round molecules of milk and cream and they deform them so that they form this funny structure and then they attach, okay? The reason for this, the reason for homogenization is pretty. It's pretty and it's creamy because if you don't homogenize, the cream goes to the top and we don't like that. We don't like that. We don't like to drink anything that comes from nature. We like to have it prepped and ready to go. So we are actually ingesting deformation, deformed cells. What do you think happens when you ingest deformed cells? Your cells become deformed, right? You are what you eat. Dairy animals. I'm not against meat. I'm not against eggs, all that, but you need to be aware of where your animal's coming from. Is your animal raised nicely? Is it pasture raised? Are you getting good foods? Are you getting, they're getting non-GMO foods? But you also need to know, everybody who has Thanksgiving dinner, right? Turkey, tryptophan. Everybody goes into a food coma after their tryptophan, right? Oh, yeah, turkey has tryptophan. Well, guess what? Meat has casomorphine. Casein morphine. Same drug they gave me in the hospital to numb me, to numb my pain. So every time you eat meat, you're actually becoming addicted to the morphine injection that you're getting to calm your body. Again, adding to the layer of the onion skin. Every time you numb yourself, every time you drug yourself, every time you put something to numb the nucleus, the pearl, is where you're vulnerable and where you're naked and where your beauty lies. So test your body. Find out how each one of these works for you. Some of us can process meat. Some of us can process dairy. Some of us can handle caffeine. Some of us can handle alcohol. Alcohol, a false sense of spirit. It's literally a poison in our body. It's a false sense of spirit because we're numb. We can't feel. We're not in the pearl anymore. We've covered ourselves. So we need the alcohol just to get a sense of what it would feel like to be vulnerable again. To not be confused in our bodies, right? So much for the slideshow. I haven't even shown you the slides. By the way, that was my after picture. No dairy, no wheat, no sugar, no meat, no caffeine, no alcohol. Sugar and wheat. Sugar is poison, hands down. It's not like it used to be. And I'm not talking about date, and I'm not talking about fruits, and I'm not talking about natural sugars. We Americans consume, on the average, 150 pounds of sugar a year, extra, beyond crackers, beyond cookies, beyond the natural stuff, 150 pounds. That's, what is that? That's like 5 pounds. I can't add. No math for me. Anyway, you got the picture. Did you know a iced tea drink that you buy in the market has 95 grams of sugar? 95. Yikes. We're using up a lot in our liquids, aren't we? This is what you feel like in your body naked when you eat sugar, wheat, carbohydrates. And that's what you feel like in your body naked. Is that what she's doing? What's she doing? That's what you feel like in your body naked when you eat fruits and vegetables. So these are the no-nos. These are the things that you should take out. What should you put in? Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, good fats, avocados, coconut. And all the other things too in moderation. You want to make your diet 50 to 70% raw, fruits, vegetables, seeds, grains. You need to have that in order to oxygenate your cells, to regenerate your cells, to revitalize your body. I don't have a picture here of what I look like at 33. Not just heavy, but bags under my eyes, big dark circles under my eyes. I was tired, I was lethargic, I was drained. And by the time I was 43, we'll go back to that picture, I was walking around in a bikini, feeling pretty darn good about myself, having 3 children, going through twins, being 247 pounds, felt pretty good. So there's just a few things I want to tell you about your fat. No offense. Feel your body. Feel good in your body. Ask your body how it feels when it eats certain foods. Make sure you are your own doctor. Become a scientist and ask yourself, how do you feel when you do that? What does the doctor ask you when you go into the doctor's office? Say, how do you feel? Say, well, I feel terrible. Well, here's a pill. Tell me how you feel now. I still feel worse. Well, here's another pill. I still feel worse. Ask yourself. Don't ask him. He doesn't know. Don't assume they know what's right for you. They don't know what's right for you. You know what's right for you. Educate yourself. You need to educate. Education is power. When you educate yourself, you are informed. Coconuts are good for you. Well, they're not really that great for me because I break out when I have coconuts. Oh, what did you do? Did you test your body? I sure did. That's right. We are so intelligent. You know, your body wants you to heal every single day. And you stuff things in it, and you really put it through the test, right? You're like, I had bacon cheeseburger for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 14 beers, smoked a couple cigars, right? And it's holding out. How is it holding out? Because your body is always working for you. Your body loves you. Now you have to just give it a little bit of love. You just turn on the dial. I ask you to go raw for one day. Just one day. And you don't have to do this every day. Just one day a week, one day, tomorrow, next week, whatever you choose a day to eat nothing but raw food. And you tell me, how does your body feel? And how do you feel the next morning when you wake up and you strip off all your clothes and you look in the mirror and you dance? Thank you. Woo!